All right, we got a great program lined up for you tonight. Appreciate all of you being here. I'm Jody Humphrey. I'm the COMD of this organization, part of the co-founder of the company, and you got a chance to meet some wonderful people tonight if you were here earlier. You got a chance to meet my dad, Hubert Humphrey, who is the godfather of financial services distribution, and you don't meet many people who started when they were almost 40 as a railroad conductor and went and built two, now $3 billion market cap companies. It's a pretty cool story. And Steve Gross, his partner, who helped build Home Depot and WebMD, so it's been a fun night having these guys here. But we got a great program lined up for you, because all that matters is what's in it for you, right? You know, everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. It's what's in it for me. That's what they all want to know, right? And so let's get right to that. We're going to provide a lot of education for you. We started a little bit late because we were just too excited. I'm not going to apologize for that. We got a great group online. This is on our YouTube, it's being streamed on our YouTube channel, so that if you happen to want to go back and watch it again or send it to someone, it's available. And several of you are live streaming it right now through your sources, so we're excited. So let's get right to the program for tonight. The money matrix, what's it all about? Okay, first of all, it's all about building stronger financial futures for all of us. And this is not one of those meetings that you're going to go to and we're just going to talk high. We're going to get into specifics. What's in it for you? You know, we got a buddy that's here, and appreciate him being here tonight, but he helps run a whole consortium of what's called family offices. And most of you don't even really know what a family office is, but if you do, it means you got $10, $20 million if you happen to have one. And I went to a big meeting that had several of those guys in one room last week. And they asked what we do. I said, hey, we do what you do, but we do it for normal people. We take all that same information to everybody else, because government's not going to do it, and others aren't going to do it, so we're going to bring you information tonight. Where they're trying to take care of themselves, and then they've got their parents living with them, and they got the kids living with them. And that's a tough situation to be in. Can I get an amen on that for some of you guys? Yep. And why is that? It's because of financial literacy. It's about education. This is not a black, white, Indian, Asian, Latino thing. This is a green thing. And I was born and raised in Macon, Georgia, and apparently Merrill Lynch doesn't come to Macon, Georgia. I don't know, right? But if you've ever been called by Merrill Lynch, raise your hand. There might be a couple of people in the room, but most of us, they haven't made that call yet, okay? We're going to change that. Hopefully, you don't have to have them call you. You want them to call you, but you don't have to want to use them, right? So let's walk through that. Thomas, or Albert Einstein, sharpest guy there is. What did he say was the hardest thing he ever understood? Income tax. So he can't understand income tax, Derek. Heaven help all of us, right? We're not going to be able to do it either. So let's go through and talk about this. So we want you to, number one, pay yourself first. Now, I got to thinking about this. And from a financial term, you have got to pay yourself first. Wealthy people, they invest and save on the front end, and then they spend whatever's left over, right? What does normal people do? The opposite. You go spend your money, and at the end, if there's any happens to be left over, you might start saving some money, right? But also know this, we've got a lot of good people in the room. We got a lot of God-fearing people in the room. And the real thing is for you to take care of your family first, and for you to put God first. And then, from there, do this next principle, right? Franklin Templeton, which is one of the greatest leaders in financial services ever, was the biggest proponent of tithing that I've ever heard. And he believed in it completely. But the next thing you gotta do is you gotta make more money. We all come here tonight, we're eating, we're doing well, but you didn't drive an hour and a half for a little bit of fried chicken. And you came here because you really hope that this is real. You're gonna drug your family out going, Lord help us, I hope this is real. You were hoping we had a real office. You know, and you're glad to get here and see it wasn't a trailer, right? So we're serious. Somebody come here, I'm glad this is real, right? And so, it is real, but at the same time, we have real issues. And I don't care who you are, you need to make more money. I'm telling you, it's how it is. If you're not making $300,000 a year, you can't get ahead in today's world. You don't just wake up and go do this. So all of you need to make more money, adjust your lifestyle, avoid the credit track, and then change your thinking. And it's hard to change your thinking. It really is, you know, but we're going to have to start with a paradigm shift, get a whole new way of thinking. There's 6 steps of financial security. I want you to understand this. You can go to all kinds of seminars, but usually before the person starts on their seminar, they got something they want to sell you. We are not that way. Well, obviously, we would be honored and hope to be able to create an alignment with you. We'd love to do business with you, but we are here to educate first and foremost. And from that, we take our chances from there, okay? We're different than anyone else, and the reason I say that is we teach you all of this, how to build your house, because if one of these things is not there, it will take down the other 5. I promise you. If you don't understand taxes, they're going to show up. Sooner or later, they're going to come get you, okay? And if you don't know all the rest, we're going to help you understand that. Also, listen, we're the only company that has every life insurance product, real estate product, so you're going to hear from one of the top people in real estate in just a few minutes. We have money under management, which is stocks and investments. We also have wills and trust, and those are in annuities. We have all the things that you need. We're going to help you build your house one brick at a time. Earn cash flow, debt management, emergency fund. Emergency fund's what? The least sexiest thing in the world, but when did it get sexy? During COVID. When everybody wished they had an emergency fund. And remember how you felt during that time where you swore you weren't going to let that happen to you again. Well, guess what? It's going to happen again. And so we've got to change that, all right? Proper protection. I used this example the other night, but a lot of people are like, I don't need life insurance. You are the ATM for your family. If you had an ATM that was spitting out $200,000 a year, you'd protect that ATM, right? We're going to help you go do that. Now, all of this starts to stop with compound interest. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going into this, but understand this. 2% in this example where a guy's putting in $10,000, where it doubles every 36 years. What's the magic number? 72, right? We hit this hard other night. So 72 is a magic number. Einstein figured it out. And if you take whatever you're getting on interest, if Derek's getting 2% interest, 2 goes into 72 36 times. So your money's going to double to 20,000. If you're already lost with math like many of us are, just know in this example you had 20,000. But if you had twice the interest rate, you'd have twice the money. That makes sense. But what if you had twice that interest rate? Look at this, it's 4 times more money. That means you put your money, Matthew, in the bank, they pay you 2%. They loan your money to, Araceli, and they charge her 4%, and then they go out and take out others to help them build businesses, and they get other people to go do credit cards, and that's where they make 12 and above, right? Now, would you rather make the left money or the right money? Right. And would you rather have that tax now, tax later, or tax never? That's the whole business. You can go home. Thank you for coming. Appreciate all of you being here, okay? But that's where it is, okay? And it doesn't take a rocket scientist, but we've got to have that working for you. It's either working for you or to you. Okay, so we're going to go through. You can't say you don't want to wait. Every day you're waiting is costing you. This gives an example of 2 people, 2 brothers, 2 sisters, started at the same time. One procrastinated. This takes somebody who's 25 and they save $300 a month. It's assuming both of these are assuming that an 8% account. The person on the left starts with 25. They're like, I want to save money. It's important. They save $300 a month, and they do that for how many years is that? 7 years. So they put away $25,000, and they end up with $128,000 in this example. The other person procrastinated, waited 7 years, and said, "Okay, I'll start now, Francis." And they started saving. They had to save all those years, and they put in $61,000, and they both ended up with the same money, because the person on the right couldn't overcome those few years at the front end. So start now, right? What's the example we use, class? When's the best time to plant a tree?
Now.
20 years ago. Right? What's the second best time around? Now. So do something, okay? We're going to teach you some things, and you're going to be excited. We represent the very best. We're the largest producer in the world for that whole top line. And I'm very excited for you to hear our next speaker tonight. We're going to get into this. It's one of our great partners. He's a vice president with Corebridge. Corebridge is one of the top companies in the world. They're soon to be the biggest financial services company because they're actually going through a merger right now with Equitable. So they're formerly known as AIG, soon to be known as Equitable. Today they're known as Corebridge. So let's welcome up my great partner, Matt Salvatore. One slide I was supposed to tell you. I don't know what it is, but somebody's not us. Maybe it's him. All right, read this real quick on the left. Who wants to read this? Giovanni, read this. I don't want to call him somebody who can't read, so I pray to God he can read you. I've had this happen. Okay, hang on. This is Justice Louis Brandeis, who was a Supreme Court Justice. This is what he said about the taxation side of things. Go ahead, Giovanni.
I live in Alexandria, Virginia.
Stand up, be loud.
Ah.
There you go.
Near the Supreme Court chambers is a toll bridge across the Potomac. When in rush, I pay the dollar toll and get home early. However, I usually drive outside the downtown section of the city and cross the Potomac on a free bridge. This bridge was placed outside the downtown Washington, D.C. area to serve a useful social service, getting drivers to drive the extra mile and help alleviate congestion during rush hour. If I went over the toll bridge and through the barrier without paying the toll, I would be committing tax evasion. If, however, I drive the extra mile and drive outside the city of Washington to the free bridge, I am using a legitimate, logical, and suitable method of tax avoidance. And I am performing a useful social service by doing so. For my tax evasion, I should be punished. For my tax avoidance, I should be commended. The tragedy of life today is that so few people know the free bridge even exists.
And that was written a long time ago. So we're going to go into, everybody say, where is that bridge? I want that bridge. Okay? You're going to hear about that bridge down south.
Yeah.
Sure. Let me go to the great Matt Salvatore. Go on, Matt. Use the handheld.
Check.
You got it?
All right. Thank you, Jody.
You bet.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm so excited to be here. Partnering with HGI, I've been with the organization for a number of years as a product provider, right? And so really what my role is as a wholesaler in this industry is to give people education, information, knowledge, and perspective. Education, information, knowledge, and perspective. I'm going to share some of that with you tonight. But first of all, everybody had some good dinner? Was food okay?
Yeah.
Probably better than McDonald's I'll have on the way home. My focus in this industry
By
is
the
really...
way, that was provided by Corebridge.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. This is going to be really hard for an Italian to hold a mic and hold a clicker at the same time, but we're going to do it. I get asked to speak a lot. I travel around the country on 60, 70, 80 flights a year, and my role is really to give people insights of what's happening in the industry. Let me swap this out here real quick. If I can just go without a
Your
mic.
tech guy's really doing a bad job tonight. It's not my full-time job.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Still have an Italian problem here.
Yep.
All right. Again, I get asked to speak all over the country about different things. Really what I focus on is death and taxes and how to avoid both. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. No, really what we're going to talk about today is kind of what's going on in the industry, what's going on in financial services, what are people talking about, and really what I want to focus on is really three main issues that all people are facing. I don't care if you've got $1 million or $1, you have the same concerns of what's going on in the industry, how am I going to get to where I need to be, how am I going to survive and provide for my family and reach a point where I can stop working at some point, right? These are all the conversations that people are having on a daily basis. If you go on, read the newspaper like Jody had that article here about the sandwich generation, go on Yahoo, go on MarketWatch, and just read these articles about what the economy is talking about. What are some of the concerns people have? And we'll go through a few of them here today. I'm really going to talk about three main concerns that most people have. The first is that the underclass is dramatically under-advised. What do I mean by that? It means what Jody said earlier. Who here has been contacted by Edward Jones, Merrill Lynch, Wells Fargo, UBS, any of those wealth management firms? They only deal with you if you have wealth. If you don't have wealth, they're not calling you, right? And so the middle class has all these competing priorities, but they don't have the information. When you talk about low income, they've got government assistance, but no education, right? So they live paycheck to paycheck, right? They're trying to figure out how to make ends meet with the information they have. Oh, this mic?
Yes.
I act out of yo. So again, the low income side is really that they have a number of challenges in their socioeconomic part of their life, but they are receiving government assistance but have no education, no information, no knowledge, no perspective of what they should be doing instead, right? They just know what their parents did, what their friends do, what their colleagues do, but that's not enough education. The high net worth, we talked about this, they have advisors, they have CPAs, they have estate planning attorneys, they have family offices. Family offices exist to advise these people. They have attorneys and CPAs on retainer at all times to be able to help them through all of life's financial options. Not just challenges, but options as well. Buying a business, making an investment. They have those resources. And the middle class has competing priorities. Jody talked about the sandwich generation. Generation X and millennials are really those generations that we're talking about that are being squeezed. They're trying to raise their kids. They've got a mortgage. They've got student loan debt. They feel like they're doing well. They're making good money. And then something happens to their parents. And now they're taking care of their parents. Right? So we're getting squeezed from every side of the financial life. Right? When we look at the different types of options out there in terms of the different accounts, I don't intend to go through each of these, but I wanted to just give you an example of kind of what's out there. Most people have 1, 2, 3 of these, maybe more, right? But the biggest problem is that they don't have a financial plan. They have financial products, but they don't have a plan. It's not your job to know how these all work in conjunction with one another. When to use your high yield savings account, when to use a life insurance, when to use a brokerage account, when to use 401ks. They all work differently. They all have different ages. They all have different requirements. They all have different components of when you should be using each of these different options. All right, and that's the biggest problem. People say, I feel like I'm doing well. I have a good job and I contribute to my 401k. That's not enough. Right? I have a good job and I've got a Roth IRA. That's not enough. Are you preparing for retirement? Are you taking care of your kids' education? All of these competing priorities can be accomplished if you have all 9 of these, but nobody's going to have all 9. And I don't expect you to have all 9, but you have to have a plan of when each of these will come into your life and what purpose they will serve. Right? So the biggest takeaway, most Americans don't have a financial plan, they have financial products. And that's one of the biggest things about this organization and why you're here tonight is the focus and emphasis on education. We don't get anywhere, we don't make any sales, we don't make any money if we don't educate families as to how money works. And so that's our focus here at HGI, at Corebridge, is to give education to middle America. Right? The second main issue that most people face is retirement income uncertainty. I've got a lot of questions on the screen here. I'm not going to read through each one of them, but I want you to just look through some of these. Do you have a 401k? Do you know how, when you retire, you're going to turn that 401k into an income stream? Do you know what happens if taxes increase by 10%? Do you know what happens if the market crashes or corrects? It's not a matter of if or when, it's a matter of how often is it going to correct? And what are you going to do to maintain your lifestyle? Healthcare, Social Security. These things are up in the air. They come up in every election. I'm going to fix healthcare. I'm going to fix Social Security. Well, what are you doing to fix your own financial life? Don't worry about what the government's doing. We just surpassed $40 trillion in national debt. We can't even service our debt. What does your financial house look like? That's the question. Longevity, the last bullet point there. Longevity is the risk that multiplies all other risks. Think about that. Longevity is the risk that multiplies all other risks. The number one fear of retirees, running out of money. They'd rather die. Right? Think about how crazy that is. People would rather die than to be in a position where you need to be a burden on your family. You don't know how you're going to make ends meet. You're 75, 80 years old going back to work at Walmart to be a greeter. Unfortunately, that's the state of the economy because nobody's educating these consumers. Americans don't just need help accumulating wealth, they need help converting financial assets into financial security. Raise your hand if you want financial security. Now, if we went around the room and I asked you what financial security meant, I'd get 75 different answers, maybe more. Everybody has a different definition of what financial security is, but nobody knows how to achieve it. It's some of those accounts I mentioned, it's those different tools, it's things like annuities, it's things like life insurance, it's things like IRAs, all these different tools that are out there will help you achieve financial security if you're being educated as to how they all work. Third slide I'll cover here is the cost of living and inflation. Right? Some people live in a high cost of living area, right? Atlanta is kind of in the middle. There are certain parts of Atlanta that are very expensive, right? But when you talk about California, you talk about New York, these are very high income or high cost of living areas. And most people are trying to figure out, I'm making $300,000-$400,000 a year and I feel broke, right? I can't max out this account. I can't cover my kids' education because I'm trying to cover daycare. I'm trying to cover my parents' retirement because they didn't save. All these different components competing with each other. My paycheck went up, but somehow I'm still falling behind. Anybody feel that? Let me ask you a question. With our debt at $40 trillion, which way do you think taxes are going to go in the future? It's the only way they can cover the debt. Increase taxes. Whether it's income taxes, estate taxes, capital gains taxes, I don't know which one it's going to be. It's probably going to be a combination of all of them. Exactly. And so what are you doing to generate tax-free income? What are you doing to defer taxes? Most people are contributing to a 401k, and the intent is to take all their money out when they retire at an unknown tax rate. The IRS is a silent partner. They won't tell you how much they want until it's time to take the money out. Right? So what are you doing to create this level of financial security? How do you generate more income if you're already working full-time? Anybody have a part-time job, side hustle? Right? DoorDash, Uber Eats. Who knows? Maybe you do voiceovers. I know all sorts of different people that have different types of careers. But people are trying to figure out how to make more money without sacrificing more time. People are already strapped. You're working 40 hours a week, you're commuting an hour a day, especially in Atlanta, and you still feel trapped. So what are you doing to generate that additional income stream? There's a number of options out there. We'll talk to you about some of those tonight. How do you free up cash flow to direct towards your future, right? Eliminate bad debts, pay off those high interest credit cards, and free up some cash to do something else with, save for your future. And Gen X, as Jody mentioned, is feeling this more than ever before. Gen X really is labeled the sandwich generation. They just don't know what else to do. They're making good money. They've got kids. Daycare is $3,000 a month. Their parents are sick. A nursing home is $10 grand a month. What do you do? What do you do? You've got to have options. You've got to have a plan. You've got to have an advisor. Who here, if they had a financial question, has somebody they can call and get a reputable answer? A couple, right? Some people have somebody they reach out to. How many of those are friends or family members? How many of those are your uncle, right? Your cousin? Oh, he knows. He's got a bunch of money. I'll ask him what to do. Is that a solid plan? How many people call you for financial advice? Right? My sisters always call me. They're like, Matt, what do I do? What do I do? You've got to have an advisor. You've got to have a trusted person in your network that'll be able to help you through all these different plans of your life, right? And so the bullet point here, what's your plan to generate guaranteed rising lifetime tax-free income? That's my tagline. What's your plan to generate guaranteed rising lifetime tax-free income? Does anybody have one of those plans? Probably not. Does anybody know those plans exist? They absolutely do. They absolutely do. Education, big part of it. Last thing I'll mention is the different demographics that exist right now in today's economy. Right? You've got the seniors on the far right-hand side. They're 80 plus years old. Their biggest focus is longevity. Right? I'm already 80, 85, 90 years old. I had 4 grandparents live past 90. My grandmother's still alive at 97. Longevity is a huge concern. Right? Longevity is the risk that multiplies all other risks. If you're unhealthy and you need care, well, that's more years of care. If taxes are going up, that's more years of tax increases. If the market's volatile, that's more years of volatility. Longevity is a huge concern for those folks, but they're trying to figure out, how do I leave something to the next generation? Baby boomers, right? They kind of sailed off into retirement, but certainly with a lot of issues. They had pensions, they had Social Security. The retirement that they had has changed. We don't all have that. Raise your hand if you have a pension. 2.
Yeah, people are like, what's that?
Exactly. Raise your hand if you believe in Social Security as being a major piece of your retirement budget. Right? These are the conversations. Baby boomers have all that, but their biggest concern is wealth transfer and long-term care. Wealth transfer and long-term care. They're trying to figure out how to leave something to the next generation, but most of that will get wiped out by a long-term care event. Alzheimer's, dementia, right? Strokes. All those things happen. All those things happen. And during those periods of time, everybody's bringing you a bill. You're getting billed by your physical therapist. You're getting billed by your nursing home facility. We're the only ones that will bring you a check. Right? When everybody else is bringing you a bill because you're sick or you have health conditions, we are the only ones that will bring you a check. That's the beauty of what we do. Gen X, we talked about that, the sandwich generation. They feel like they're doing everything right, but they can't get ahead. They're trying to figure out, how can I retire on time? How can I retire early? How can I put my kids through college? All of those competing priorities. You got to make more money. You got to be efficient with your taxes. You got to control market volatility. All those things combined. Millennials and Gen Z, different generation, man. I'm a millennial, I can say that. We just don't want to work. Gen Z is even worse. They're like 21 years old, graduating college, trying to figure out when they can retire. They're looking for side hustles. They're
I hope
looking
they
for
figure it
additional
out.
ways to generate income. They're looking for all these opportunities that we have to offer. Education. I've got a sister that's 14 years younger than me. She's Gen Z, I'm millennial. I've got a Gen X sister as well.
It's funny though.
Right? We talk about this all the time, kind of what's happening with our friends, what's happening with our colleagues. We're all kind of in the same boat, but dealing with different competing priorities. And so when you talk about the opportunity, and we'll have some other people talk about this business specifically and what it can do for you and your families, just know that we can help every single one of these generations. If you're out there selling shakes or supplements or peptides or whatever it is today, you've got a very slim target market. We can help everybody. Think about your friends, your families, your colleagues, all need the services that we provide. But nobody's talking to them. Money has been taboo. Don't talk about money at the dinner table. I always talk about money at the dinner table because it uncovers opportunity. It uncovers gaps in people's plans that they don't even know exist. And so the biggest thing I'd say, if there's one takeaway from tonight, is your financial house in order? Do you know where all these accounts line up? Do you know what your old 401k is doing? Do you know what taxes look like in the future? Do you know what's going to happen when you retire? Are you going to be able to retire? Those are all the questions I want you to ask yourself, and then talk to whoever invited you here tonight. Again, my name is Matt Salvatore. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes.
You have to keep it water. Can I see, is there any water? I'll get you that. Hold on a second. I get emotional right here, Matt. He's fantastic. We'll give you another one. We're not that close yet, right? All right, we got a little special surprise tonight. We have a special guest, and I'm really excited to have him here. It seems like I've known him forever, but it was just a little while back through my superstar buddy James. I had a chance. He went out. I told him on a Thursday night, I said, you need to get out of this office and do some networking.
You kicked me out.
I kicked him out, basically. Thank you so much, Karen. But he did go out, but it was a good night because he came back and he said, hey, I met two wonderful guys, and he had. And they were very special. Well, I do want to recognize Tim for being here, great Tim Stones, he's fantastic. But he did introduce me to Shane So. Shane's a superstar. We tied in together, we're unified in building a business together. But he's also brings a lot to the table in understanding some real estate things, and also kind of gives you a perspective of how all this fits together. So let's give a great welcome to Shane So.
All right. Well, hey, it's an honor to be here, and Jody, I appreciate you letting us be here to speak. Can you stand up, Tim? You guys, this is my good friend, Tim. He works, and you give him a big round of applause. All right, so I don't even have a fancy presentation. I just wanted to kind of share the reason why we're wanting to work with HGI and Jody and his father is because they're a one-stop shop. And I'm going to get to that in just a moment of why that was very important for us as far as financial education. But I was born in Albany, Georgia. Can everyone understand me in my southern accent? Okay, so if you don't understand me, just raise your hand, huh?
Albany, Georgia.
Albany, Georgia, that's exactly where I'm from. So I'm half Korean, half American, so I came from a very oriental culture. You gotta be a doctor, a lawyer, and all of that, right? So I was like hard work, study. But one thing that I learned as I grew older, number one, dropping out of school. I did drop out of school. My dad was not happy about that, right? I started in martial arts. I started a martial arts school. I'm gonna move away from this a little bit. So I started in martial arts, doing martial arts schools. I started in a ballet school twice a week, okay? $150 a month rent, and I grew up to $40,000 a year doing taekwondo. That was my first breakthrough into entrepreneurship. Because think about it, my dad wanted me to be a doctor, lawyer, because I'm Korean, right? And I dropped out of school, right? And now I'm going to do a taekwondo school, I'm going to do a martial arts school. They were okay, but the main thing that I learned is there was a big paradigm shift, okay? Is that the most wealthy people in America are the 1%, right? The most 1%, right? That means 99% of the time we're getting the wrong advice, no matter how good intentioned. My father, my mother, the best parents. And they taught me everything. Study hard, work hard, go to school, no debt, all of these things. But then as I learned later on in life, and I'll tell you what was my moment, is that all the billionaires were doing the exact opposite. Okay? That's the big hard thing for me. So again, I'm going to go back to my story a minute, and then I'm going to kind of share with you kind of some things. Okay? So I started doing martial arts. I grew up to 2 Taekwondo schools, and I'm feeling good. And I realized, man, I have to trade my time for money. If I'm not there, no money's coming in. I have a business plan now, but now I need an investment plan. And I didn't have much financial literacy. But it took this one guy buying the pizza place next to me. And he had his hair slicked back. Him and his wife had matching Cadillacs. And here in the South, that's a lot of money. Okay? And I said, sir, what do you do for a living? And he said, young man, you need to take me to lunch. So I took him to lunch. We went to Longhorns.
Yeah.
And he sat down and told me things that no one had ever told me. My mom, my dad, all the professors and doctors and friends of mine had never told me the things that he told me. And it was about how to manage debt, how to not just have a business plan, but how to make an investment plan, asset protection, how to structure LLCs. And to me, I had never heard about that. And he opened up my eyes. I was 25 years old when I met this man. The very next day, he ghosted me. I never talked to him again. He didn't give me any more guidance. And it took me 5 years to finally get my first real estate deal, how he told me to do it. And I would love to say that my story is really sexy and I had this motivating moment, but really what it was is a real estate agent lied to me. So I'll tell you that story in 1 second, okay? For those 5 years, at 25 to 30, I got 33 properties that I found under contract to buy. And then I would cancel them. So I made every real estate agent in the area completely upset with me. They all hated my guts, right? I wasted their time looking at these properties, giving this offer. People would accept and I'd cancel them. But then when I was about 30 years old, I finally found another property, got it under contract, and I did what I always did. I called this young boy and I said, I'm going to cancel the contract. And he lied to me. And I'm very thankful he did. It's illegal what he's doing, but I'm thankful he did. What it did is it took me from an I can't do it to how can I do it attitude. Okay? I realize as I stand here today, because now it's been 9 years, so I'm 39 years old, we've grew to over 400 single family properties, more than 150 multifamily properties. I manage 2 real estate funds. We're also in a hybrid film fund. We're doing mergers and acquisition, and it all started because this young person changed my mindset from I can't do it to how can I. We all know how to go from A to B and B to C, but if you want to go A to Z, you're going to have to do things you've never done before. Does that make sense? Can I get an amen? Yeah. Okay. So again, this journey over the last 9 years has really been the fact that I wanted to put myself with mentors such as Jody, his father, and other people, but also like-minded people. Trying to get into real estate, I remember being on the front row just like these 2 gentlemen, and a young boy came and sat down next to me, and he kept bumping me, and I was like, oh my gosh, he was probably 18 years old. But because I met him and started talking to him, I got over 16 properties in the next 3 years just because I met him. So I realized that the next $1 million opportunity and an idea is in someone else's mind. So you got to be in rooms just like this. So give yourselves a round of applause for being here. All right. So basically, after everything that I've learned over the last 9 years, I realized, man, I'm 30 years old is when I got my first gun. I've been in this 9 years. What would have happened if I would have started when I was 25? What if I would have been in rooms like this and been around people like Jody and James and his father and all these people? Where would my life have been? What would have happened if someone would have sat me down and told me everything that's opposite from the other 99%? I want to learn from that 1%, right? So me and Tim, we started saying, you know what, I'm an introverted guy, by the way. I don't know, I have this country accent. I'm kind of nervous up here and everything, and you guys are all being so sweet. But we said, look, we're going to start teaching people and changing people's lives. I feel a true passion for that. So we host dozens, I think we have 20 other workshops that we're doing in person all around the country, from Orlando to LA to Houston, New York, where we teach real estate and financial literacy. So it's a no-brainer that this is a one-stop shop, and we wanted to combine and work and partner together with like-minded people that not just that we trust, but we like. Don't we love Joe getting to
Yeah.
They've been nothing but good to us. So his head's getting a little big now. No, but we decided to do many types of workshops. We also host 4 or 5 conferences. We have the Atlanta Real Estate Conference, we're the host of, the Pivot Business Summit. We're getting into film, so we're doing the AFA Summit, the AFA Gala. We have a bunch of things in Beverly Hills that we have coming in. We're doing all this. Number one is, again, the next $1 million idea is in someone else's mind. So we want to put ourselves in those rooms and facilitate that for everyone else. And whenever we do these things, I always said, we don't want to be any guru. I'm not trying to sell any course. I'm here to educate because I can make more money partnering together with people than I can selling you a $100 course. Who's seen those courses online?
Oh my God.
Who's bought some of those courses? Who's not listening to me at all? So to me, it's a great honor. I know I'm taking a lot of time. It's a great honor to be here. Great honor to work with these guys who have, it's really a one-stop shop because everything we were talking about, from financial literacy to real estate to, honestly, asset protection, is extremely amazing and good. And every time I'm teaching it, then I have everyone coming to me in my workshop saying, where do I get this trust? How can I set up my retirement? How am I gonna, what happens if I die? Because what I like to do is not just make a business plan, but an investment plan. You have to plan from when you die to when you retire, and then passive income now. And with this system, it always works. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
All right, guys. That literally is what we do. We create alignments. Individuals, whatever world you're in. And there's thousands of people out there just like that looking for alignment. So that's pretty exciting. Now you're getting ready to hear in rapid succession the 3 most important people to me over the last 10 years outside my wonderful wife. And I love these guys and they're fantastic. And actually 4 of them, because Raheem will end it and he's been very important to me too. So we're gonna get started out now with who I think is the most articulate couple on these subjects that you're ever gonna hear. You're gonna love their energy. They're like watching a podcast, the 2 of them. This marriage is, they're awesome. So I want to try to tell you what it means to be in the Odie land, but you're going to get a feel of it. But these guys were school teachers. It will come across when they talk to you. Your life's going to be better for having heard them. So let's give a great welcome to the great Kimberly Odie.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. And by the way, the confidence I had to go align with somebody like Shane and Tim is because I knew that we could deliver this to them. And so you'll hear what I'm talking about here. So here you go.
Thank
Hit
you.
'em.
Thank you, thank you. Are you gonna click for me?
I'm good at being man and white, but I'll
Is it? I don't know.
try. See which way it
What
goes.
if I go backwards?
Go the other way.
Okay, so you guys have heard a lot of information tonight. A lot of it's super exciting. Shane was amazing, so thank you for sharing your story. I'm going to talk to you about the most exciting conversation, and that's life insurance. Everybody want to come and talk about life insurance tonight, right? And I joke because it isn't really anything anybody wants to talk about. It's nothing anybody wants to think about, but it is probably the most important part of any financial plan. If you don't have life insurance, then you're leaving everything out there to chance. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is protecting more than your life. What is life insurance? How does it work? Obviously, we know that life insurance is, what if I die, right? If I die, my family's taken care of. They get this big fat check from Corebridge and, they blow them a kiss and they know that's the last gift that we'll ever give them, right? So what if I die? My family might lose my income. Can they live without it? No. And that's something that most of us have the ability to prevent with a life insurance policy. What if you get seriously sick? Did you guys know that life insurance has what's called living benefits? So if you do get sick, you can access a portion of that death benefit to help you through that time. That's huge. Regardless of how much money you've saved, if you have a major physical life event, you're going to have to access that money if you don't have somewhere else you can pull it from. So that's a great piece for it as well. And then what if you live for a really long time, right? Like that's the goal. I tell all of my clients, I hope you lose, right? I hope this never, ever, ever pays out. Probably will, because it's gonna happen. But what if you live a long life? You're still going to need money to fund your future, right? So when we look at this, we talk about how much protection does your family need. And I think this is a really big conversation that we all need to sit and listen to, but I think it's also something where we need to do our own math. We need to look at our own numbers and decide how much life insurance do I need. Most people, when I meet with them, have life insurance through work, and they only have life insurance through work. Do you know what the problem is with life insurance through work? When do most people die?
After they work.
After they work, right? What happens what if you get sick, right? And you have to leave your job because you can't do it anymore, and then you pass away. What happens to your benefits?
Gone.
They're gone, right? So it makes sense. If it's cheap through work, great, fine, keep it, right? If it's free, great, fine, keep it, but have some on yourself outside too, because when it's too late, it's too late. When you get a diagnosis, when you get sick, I can't help you anymore. So take that action now and look at it. So how do we determine how much life insurance we need? We talk about the dying method. You told me to click it and I did. It's okay, I fixed it. Thank you for your help. I appreciate it. Okay, so the dime method. So how do we figure that out? How much is my debt? My credit cards, my car loans, my student loans, my IRS debt, my medical bills, everything. How much debt do I have? And then what's my income? If I pass away this year and I make $100,000 a year, is that what I need to replace for my family? No. They need at least 10 years to make sure that my life is okay. Their life is okay, right? I know emotionally it's going to be devastating, right, babe?
I won't be here.
But financially it doesn't have to be, right? So if I can give my family at least 10 years of my income, their life doesn't have to change. What a gift would that be? Huge, right? And if you have little kids, if you've got babies, I tell you 20 years. Multiply it by 20. Make sure your family's taken care of, and none of that has to change. The next is mortgage. So if you pass away, let your family pay off their mortgage. It's just something else they don't have to worry about. Life insurance protects your risk, right? That is what this is for. All insurance covers your risk. And then finally, education, planning for your kids' education. So when you put all those numbers together, I think I have a sample over here. If I have $50,000 in debt, and I make $100,000 a year, 100,000 times 10 is $1 million, right? I have a $350,000 mortgage, and a $200,000 need for my kids' education. I have 4 daughters. We have 4 daughters. Kids are expensive, right? Our third is in college now. Woo, 1 to go. But it's expensive. But I want to make sure that my family has the best that I could ever give to them. So I need a $1.6 million death benefit in this example. Do the math for yourself. Do you have enough life insurance? If you don't, let's look at it. Let's make sure that it's in place. Let's make sure that you're okay. Let's make sure that you have enough. But what if you don't die? I think this is a really big conversation too, right? Like that's the plan? Are we excited? Yeah. I told y'all I got the most exciting topic, right? We're talking about death and dying here. But the other good news is once you actually put that life insurance plan in place, you don't have to think about it anymore. It's done. You've protected it, and now you can go think about how to get rich, right? Do real estate, all this kind of fun stuff. So what if you don't die and you survive? But if you have cancer, heart attack, stroke, chronic illness, a serious health event, I won't ask anyone to raise their hands to see who do you know, right? Because we all probably know someone. The bills don't stop. Just because you're sick, the bills don't stop. My mortgage still needs to be paid every single month, or then I'm going to be living on the street. I still have to make money. It still has to come in. I still have to take care of my family. I still have my everyday bills, right? So we can protect ourselves with living benefits. Most of the life insurance policies that we sell have living benefits built in. That's important. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when it's going to happen. So we just want to make sure that we prepare ourselves. I'm just kidding. That's a disclaimer. I was like, what's that say? We don't care. Anyway, critical chronic terminal illness. You obviously know what that does. But protection's only the beginning. So there are 3 risks, and there's one bigger conversation. Die too soon, I have a death benefit that's going to take care of my family. If I get sick along the way, I have living benefits that's going to take care of myself because hopefully I live, everything's happy, I'm going to retire, we're going to travel around the world and do all the things that we wanted to do. Or I I live too long, right? I live a really long life. And life insurance can help me with retirement income too. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. So what if we have one strategy that can help you address every single need that you have? We're going to talk to you about that next. Do you want me to introduce him?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so now let's talk about funding the life that you hope to live. And I'm going to turn this over to my amazing husband. Are you listening? Are we recording? Oh, God, that's right on my face. Oh, Lord. I'm going to turn this over to my amazing husband. We've been married 28 years. We have 4 daughters. They are all amazing. We were both school teachers. We got into this career, into this world, because we didn't make enough money. I don't know if anybody has children. I don't know if anybody pays daycare, but it's really expensive, right? So one of our salaries went to pay for daycare, and it just didn't make sense anymore. So we stuck our toe into this industry part-time, fell in love with it, did really, really, really well, and we were able to leave, and this is what we do now. We've been doing this for the last 24 years next month, so for a really, really long time. So, all right, Zach, are you coming? I can't talk about you anymore. I have nothing else to say. I can still talk. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is that good enough? Can you hear me better than you can hear her?
No.
No.
All right.
All right. So Zach can introduce himself now.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Great job, Kimberly.
So yes, it's great to see all of you guys here, and it's great for me to finally come out of that little room over there. And I do get to talk about the most exciting part of what we do, and that is planning for those. You want me to leave here and go over there? I'm getting instructions. Is anybody married? Any guys instructions ever stop? 28 years and it's still like, earlier I had a piece of glitter on my lip and it was bothering her, and I was like, that's my makeup. I don't have hair, so I just sprinkle a little glitter here and there. But now I'm going to be too close to this thing, so we'll see. All right, well, so I get to talk about a couple things. This is an educational event. That's what we hope, is that you come through this and you learn something. I love what Matt said earlier about the fact that, and I think Shane said it too, talking about how most of the advice we've been given, if all the advice we get from our parents and from our friends and from all the people that really want us to be successful, I'd say that kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's kind of like crabs in a bucket. Nobody likes to watch somebody other than them get really successful. If you've ever been around folks like that, nobody else has. Most of what we were taught is not correct, right? We were taught about how to save for retirement. We were taught every dollar had to be allocated into one specific bucket, right? We need to have money set aside for college planning. We need to have money set aside for retirement. We need to use this. We need to do that. And what if we can have $1 have multiple purposes depending on the outcome of our life, like Kimberly was talking about? What if something happens to me prematurely? I want my plan to be self-completing. I don't want to have to worry about it. I want it to be done. What if I get sick? I don't want to go through the assets that we've worked hard to save just to keep me here so that we can all sit around and stare at each other later. And then finally, what if I don't get sick? I want to have enough money and be able to distribute it in the way that I want to do that. So let's talk about sources of income during retirement. The three-legged stool of retirement was mentioned earlier, right? All right, so we have Social Security. I heard the laughs. Pension. Anybody got pensions? I know there's a couple in the room because two. You've already asked this question. All right, 2 pensions. That tells you pensions are dead. They're long gone. The 401k replaced those very quickly because the 401k is cheaper for our employers to provide for us, and the outcome is much cheaper for them. And then personal savings. Well, now what does it look like? This illustration here, it's basically personal savings. Whose money's in a 401k? It's kind of rhetorical. Whose is it? It's yours? Who else's money is it? You have a silent investment partner that's going to take exactly what they want when it's time to take it. So knowing things matter. Learning about alternative ways to do things and plan properly. Anybody ever heard of Time Magazine? Yeah. Anybody ever seen this cover before? Anybody want to guess when this cover came out? 1996?
1980. It was a while ago because it's got that late night talk show.
2009. October of 2009, Time Magazine, a very reputable publication, said it's time to retire the 401k. How many of you in this room right now have or have had a 401k, an IRA, 403b, something like that? Okay, we got some entrepreneurs in the room, right? They don't have an opportunity for those kind of things. Almost every single employee that we deal with when we're putting together plans has something like this. It's the most widely used vehicle, still to this date, qualified funds for retirement planning. So, if you could design a perfect place for your money, what would you want it to do? I want it to grow, right? I don't want to stick it in my mattress, right? It's not going to grow. I might never lose it unless the house catches on fire. But I want it to grow. I want it to be protected against loss. I can't afford, if I'm getting started or I'm building my assets, I want to be able to protect, I want it to be protected. Avoid taking a full market decline. The reason that article came out in 2009, anybody remember what happened in 2008?
Yes.
Crash.
Some of us are old enough to feel that. That was the first time people that were solely required or solely relying on their 401ks for retirement had to go back to work because their assets got cut in half. And so their plans they had the week before, the month before, the year before were gone. That's what that article was about. We need to have other things to protect that. And then access. I don't want to tie my money up. I don't want to trade safety for security and not be able to access the money. So what does that look like? Let's talk about ways to get more income and less tax on the dollars that we save. Would that make sense?
Yeah.
And again, my goal for you tonight is not totally educate you on the concepts that I'm talking about. It's to pique your interest, and then for you to get those questions answered. And I hope that you learn something that benefits you. So, maximize the use of wealth, diversified tax buckets. Guys, when we put together plans for people, we have the software tools you're going to hear about later on tonight that are bar none, that put things together for you. We have the product providers. You've heard from our best one tonight, right? We have all of the things that you can possibly imagine, but the key is, do you know how to use them? Well, we put together those plans for our clients absolutely free of charge. You can take the advice I give you and you can go down the road and the only thing it's going to do is hurt my feelings. But the reason we do that is because for most people, they don't think they have enough money to talk to somebody professional, or they don't know where to start. They don't know where to go. So we provide that free of charge. Now, let's talk about two different strategies completely and how they handle these things. Qualified account, what is that? Just talk about that. 401ks, IRAs, those kind of things, right? So let's just say at age 65, I have amassed a $708,000 value in my 401k. Now, don't know if you know how the math works. Probably not enough for anybody to do what they want to do. But this is larger than 99% of the 401ks we sit down with. Most average and ordinary Americans have between 1 and 10 years worth of retirement in their total value. And they could never live for 30 years off of it. So anyway, I won't go down that rabbit hole. Kimberly already talked about death and dying. I don't want to depress you anymore. So $708,000 at age 65 over a 30-year time period because he got to kick the tax can down the road, right? I took it out of my check before taxes. So cumulative tax savings over 30 years is estimated to be about $65,000. Now, he really needs a $55,000 income to live. So he's got to take $70,000 out of that 401k to net $55,000. You guys know that? Mm-hmm. Kimberly just met with somebody 2 days ago that has, didn't realize that the money coming out was going to be taxed. $15,000 taxed in order for them to have a $55,000 net income. Okay? Right? That's just once, right?
It's not good.
Nope.
No.
Every time.
17 years, it's going to be down to zero. But here's what I want you guys to do. I was not a math teacher. I taught history and science. A little bit of math and science, but I like to play it really simple. 15,000. 30,000. 45,000. Go with me. 60,000. Took them 30 years to allow you to save $65,000. You paid back almost all of it in the first 4 years of your retirement. But did they let you stop? Is your debt paid? You're going to pay $15,000 a year every single year. Guys, there is a reason that the government loves being your savings partner. So $55,000 net income, all this kind of, so he didn't do bad, right? 17 years he's out of money, that's bad. But he still had $708,000 and he withdrew $935,000. But what if there was another set of rules? You guys know that there's two different sets of rules for taxpayers, right? There's the people that get a W-2, and there's the people that don't. There's two different sets of rules. If you don't realize that, and if you get a W-2, I'm glad that you have a job, but you need to have a business as well, so that you can have some money that's treated differently. $255,000 in total tax paid in order to save the $65,000. There's also caps and things that you have to do. You can't retire early, those kind of things. We'll talk about in a second. Now let's talk about an index universal life policy. How many of you have heard bad or good things about an index universal life policy or an IUL? Is what you might have heard of it. Online, internet. You know, ChatGPT will tell you whatever you ask it in your favor. If you tell me, why should I buy an IUL? It's going to tell you exactly why you should buy one. And if you say, why should I not? It's going to tell you exactly why it thinks you shouldn't. The problem is it doesn't think. It just gives you what you ask it to give you. So let me tell you how it actually works. And I'm not going to, again, go deep in the weeds. So if I say right here, after those same 30 years, we had reallocated funds into this bucket instead of this one 30 years ago, who's winning? Which account's got more money? My IUL or my 401k?
Actually, universal's better.
Well, you might know the answer already. Thanks for spoiling my whole
sorry.
presentation. Jeez. Always somebody, right? It looks like you think more money is what matters, right? 619 is less than 708. 65,000 in savings, 0 in tax savings in that side over there. I need a $55,000 income. I'm going to take that out of my IUL. I'm not going to pay any income tax. We're going to net the same income. Okay, great. I'm still going to run out faster, right? Because I got less money. Well, how about this? 30 years taking that money out. Every bit of it that's come out has come out tax-free. I paid tax on the money when I earned it, and I put it in a vehicle that allowed it to grow tax-deferred and access it tax-free for the rest of my life. 30 years still going, $1.6 million withdrawn over those 30 years. And one of the things people say is that's insurance. It costs money. I had to spend money to get that. Well, I don't know about you, but I'd rather have all those benefits Kimberly talked about wrapped into my retirement strategy and pay for that than I had just give the government $255,000, right? It's still less. So, no restrictions. As long as it's structured properly, it'll work. Now, here's the thing. Again, we're a one-stop shop. Is an IUL better than a 401k? IUL is life insurance. A 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement plan. I don't say that one's better than the other, they're different. So when I told you earlier I was comparing apples and oranges, I work with a lot of people that have 401ks. We help them manage those 401ks. We help them do things with them. But we have an order of investment. Write this down. Maybe you just take this nugget home with you. Free money first. What's free money? Where do you get free money in retirement?
Your employer co-sponsors.
Employer match. If I have a dollar for dollar match up to 5% in my 401k, I get a 100% rate of return every time I put money in there. That'd be dumb if I didn't do it, wouldn't it? Yeah. What about beyond that match? So we got free money first. Next thing we want to do is tax-free money. How do you get tax-free money? Roth IRAs, that Roth works, different IULs, insurance, those kind of things. And then taxable money. Free money, tax-free money, then taxable money. Both of these are just tools. What we do and what we want you guys to leave here understanding is that we are not your average advisors. We're not your average planners. We don't stay between the lines. We find your goals, your dreams, and what you have to work with, and we help you put together a roadmap to get there. And if that means we need to show you how to make more money, we're going to tell you that. If that means you're going to be way behind, we're going to be honest with you. My goal is for you to like me in 30 years when it's time to retire, not for you to like me today, right? That's when your kids are going to come to me and generational stuff like that. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about another way to use life insurance. A $50,000 car story. Anybody ever heard of being your own bank? You heard that little whiz bang thing? A lot of people talk about it. They think it's really cool. One thing I'll tell you, if you want to be your own bank, what do banks have that you don't? Money. You can't just buy one of these policies and all of a sudden borrow from yourself if it's got zero value, right? So to be your own bank, you have to first amass some wealth. But let's talk about this. Usually if I say I want to buy a $50,000 car, I go out today, I can either do one of two things. I can save $50,000, buy the car, and watch my money gone, right? All that savings is gone. I'm depressed. I'm sad. Or I can go path number 2, which is what most people do. I go down to the bank. I show them how good my credit is and how much other debt I've got and how I pay it all on time. I finance it and I pay them interest to borrow their money for that car. So I pay interest on a depreciating asset because it's cool and my friends think I'm rich, right? That's what we do. What about being your own bank? Become the source of your capital. So it does not matter where you are, how old you are, how much you can set aside. In this situation, it is a life insurance policy, so you have to medically qualify for it. So there are things, but it's definitely something that I think everybody should use because like I said earlier when we started this, you want it to be, you want to grow, you want to be protected, and you want to have access to it. See, the nice thing about this is I don't have any penalties or taxes when I pull money out of my insurance policy, right? So I'm going to skip through a few things. Flexibility, use it for car purchases, colleges, business, real estate, emergencies, anything else. You can do anything with it. There are zero restrictions as far as what you can do with this money as long as you follow the rules and we build them properly, right? Control your own capital. Now, this is just some disclaimer stuff. I skip over that all the time, so if you're on YouTube, sorry about that. You can rewind it if you want to see this. No, it's just saying basic things. I'm talking about life insurance. There are various benefits. We are comparing apples and oranges. They're all tools, right? How does life insurance work this way? A lot of people say there's no way that you can get a tax-free growth inside that and be able to take it out tax-free. Here, write the codes down, take a picture. These are IRS codes and subsections about why life insurance works the way that they do. Thanks, Mauricio. I stole this. You recognize this? So, but it's great. That's what people want to know. They're like, you sound like you know what you're talking about, but prove it. There you go. I'll give you the short answer to that, and I'm kind of going over on my time here, but I will give you the short answer on how that works. If I put money into a life insurance policy, I pay tax on it before I put it in there. I pay tax on what I earn. I put it in there. It grows tax deferred. And as long as I take it out the right way, which would be in the form of loans, then I don't have to pay tax on that money as income. And people are like, well, someday you got to pay tax on it. Guess what? Tax-free death benefit, right? Tax-free death benefit. So if I take money out of my policy and I take it out to live off of it, that's a loan. IRS sees it as a loan. I don't have to pay tax on it. My loans balances are growing with my, as I take it out, 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 and then all of a sudden something happens to me. My death benefit passes to my heirs tax-free after the tax-free proceeds pay off all those loans, i.e. tax-free.
I didn't know that. That is interesting.
Right? You guys follow that, right? And usually there's death benefit left over, right? So anyway, that's the 30,000 foot view of how it's tax-free income. You still pay Uncle Sam on the front end because there's no way to get rid of him altogether. And I appreciate roads and things like that. I just don't want to pay for too many of them. So here's what I'm going to do. Earn interest linked to market performance. You're shielded from direct market exposure, so you're not in the market, you're tracking the market. Benefits are subject to caps and terms. Again, it's about having a proper person that knows what they're doing put this together for you the right way so that it works. When I got into this industry early on, it was really funny. I built mine the wrong way. Right? And this is one of the reasons, and I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag, this is one of the reasons why people in the industry, why people will say that these are bad things, because they've had somebody do to them or to other people what I actually did to myself. Which is I wrote the policy for maximum commission. That was my policy, right? I wrote my, and so 2 years later, policy's collapsing. I'm like, what's going on? I talked to our rep, my MAT of the day at that point in time. A woman named Beth, and she was like, I was actually going to ask if I could use your policy as an example of what not to do. And I said, what happened to all the money that we've been putting in that thing for? She said, well, you got a pretty big commission check when you wrote that, right? And that really hurt your value. That's what a lot of people that sell this type of product do, is they write it for themselves, not for the benefit of the person that they're writing it for. And they don't teach them proper ways to do that. So there's a lot of slimy people out there in the world. I say there's a few, right? I used to say there's a few, they just move around a lot. But
Like rats.
that's why it's good to know, it's good to learn, it's good to do your research. Don't just take whatever somebody on TikTok says, right? We have our third daughter, God love her, she just started college, had her first day of class on Monday. She literally, every time she comes out with these great little facts. Did you know this? I'm like, where'd you hear that? TikTok. I was like, oh. And what kind of vetting did you do for that person? If it's on TikTok, it must be So here we are. I saw a lot of people didn't have 401ks. I'm gonna hit this real quickly. Maybe you're self-employed, paid on commissions, you're a business owner, and you don't have the ability to invest in a 401k. Maybe you make too much money to put it all there. You're capping your 401k, that means somewhere else to put it. That's why we use these kind of things. Maybe you want to retire early, right? Maybe you're 39 and you're crushing it, right? I mean, I'm glad this industry came into my life when we were in our 20s. But I can tell you right now, the knowledge we've gotten while we were here has changed our ability in the future, right? Because if we'd stayed school teachers, we'd had 403Bs, not big ones, and we would have, been in a sad situation. But anyway, living benefits, Kimberly already covered this, so I won't go into that very much. But I remind people this all the time. If you had a machine in your garage that printed $100,000 a year, would you insure it?
Yes.
Life insurance is not an emotional decision. It's factual. How many of you have insurance on your cell phone? You're talking about $800 to $1,000, right? That's not going to kill you. But if you lose a machine, which is basically what you are for your family in a mathematical situation, you're a machine printing income. Like they might love you too, right? They might like you to be around, but really they need your income to be there. So anyway, today, tomorrow, retirement, protection, and legacy. Is your current financial plan covering all these bases for you? If you said no, or I don't know, then you need to make sure that you sit down with somebody to help you get to that answer. Again, you sit down with us, that whole process is free. Probably not going to beat that deal. We should charge a little bit so people think it's worth something. Guys, thank you so much for your time. That's what I've got for you tonight.
Okay, guys, listen, we're almost, I'm asking for your focus because we're headed toward the finish, but it is a spectacular finish. Okay? You're getting ready to hear from the Wizard of Oz, the Harry Potter of technology and financial services, and this is our thermonuclear weapon. I promise you. And it's what you're come here tonight to hear, okay? He's got a very concise, powerful finish, and then we got a little challenge. We'll get you out on time. But Mauricio Garcia, I had a chance to meet him 10 years ago. He was, I spoke at a meeting like this, and my translator didn't show up. And so he came up out of the audience and translated. It was the best move of my life. And so he's been phenomenal with us, and he's changing the whole industry. So let's give a great welcome to the great Mauricio Garcia.
Good night, everybody. So it is very probable that 99% of you know or have an idea of what your credit score is. And a lot of decisions that you make today in your life gravitate around that financial score. I'm very excited to share what I'm going to share with you guys tonight because we're going to go way deeper into something that, because we've done this so many different times and asked audiences from all over the country, is that almost nobody here knows what their financial score is. And that's what we're going to discover today, because it's so critical to the success of your financial future. If you think about a number like 820 or 720 or 650 score, what I mean to say is you can get excited when your credit score is above 700 or maybe panic whenever it drops. And what is that anyways? What's the credit score? If you really think about it, credit score is a tool that banks use, financial institutions, to determine your credit worthiness. Like how likely are you to properly manage the debt, to pay them back? And so it measures payment history, amounts owed, credit, age, things like this, credit mix and credit activity. And that's fine. And you're familiar with these numbers down here, right? 750 to 850 scores is excellent, good. But we want to go deeper. What is that financial score? There are Somebody could have a great payment history, but completely unprepared to retire. Somebody could have perfect payment history. As a matter of fact, they could walk into a bank and get a loan for a brand new car or a home and have not the right documents for their estate planning. No will, no trust, things of that nature, right? They could have a great score and still not be ready if a new COVID type of a situation strikes. And so we need to go deeper and understand where are we when it comes to a financial score. Now, I'm going to share a formula with you guys, how we arrived at that, so you understand the true science and the algorithm that we built around that. And we feel that everybody needs to know sort of three numbers, not just their credit score, but their financial score, and I would even say their fiscal score. And we'll get into that. But if you think about how these things interact with each other, every one of us here has cash flow, I want to believe. And that cash flow may or may not at this point cover your lifestyle. And if it does, you have maybe some extra, which is that margin that you use to fuel other things like proper protection. We've been hearing so much about properly protecting your life. And it may be it gives you the ability to fuel retirement savings, and it may give you the ability to manage that, to service that properly. And so we shouldn't look at any of these 6 pillars, but by the way, those are the most important financial pillars that we need to look into. But if cash flow suffers, and you're no longer able to service debt or even build emergency fund, everything stresses. So they all need to work cohesively, and a combination here. They all need to be solid for you to build a great financial future. So let's introduce the financial score. And what we want to do, when we were building this, we wanted to build it around modeling what we already are familiar with, which is a credit score. This does not replace a credit score. It's not used for lenders to lend you money, none of that. But there's real science we're going to get into. And each one of these things obviously weigh differently in the level of importance in your financial plan. Like proper protection, retirement readiness, they have 22% of what makes a score, followed by cash flow, debt management, emergency fund, and estate planning that all have a 14% when it comes to making up of the score. And so you will all have the ability, you all have the opportunity to go into a place at the end where you can actually begin and know where your score is today, know your baseline, and then figure out what is the things that you can do to improve that. But basically, if you're anywhere between 560 and 649, means that there's room for growth. 650 to 749 is to have a good foundation. 750 to 850 is you've got excellent momentum. And you may be wondering, well, how does this build? And I want to give you a little bit of backstory here on more than the backstory is the reason we put this together. And maybe you need to know that I've been in the field 27 years now. Working with families in 1999, I got licensed. And those 6 pillars are so fundamental to really building the life that we want. And if any of those things suffer, the rest of the plan collapses, as Jody was saying. So we needed to create something that truly measured how healthy any one of us are in those 6 areas. And we didn't want to just build this to be a fancy questionnaire that would just spit out a grade. You're doing financially great. We wanted the input to be self-reporting, meaning you control the information. At the end of the day, there's a reality that you have today. That information, when you input it into the system, it's the math, obviously, is deterministic. So there's some science behind it. Each one of the pillars is weighted within the formula, and the scoring is normalized to give you a report. But this report is It's fair. So it treats everybody the exact same way. Now, what does it ask for? And what does it measure? These are the 6 pillars, so let's dive a little bit deeper into each one of them. What the financial score asks when it comes to proper protection is your family going to be okay if you are not there tomorrow? What is the true gap that you have there? Retirement readiness. You have a certain lifestyle today that you got used to with hard work. And when you retire, you're gonna need a certain size nest egg. What is that number that will be able to produce the income that I need to have in order to maintain my lifestyle? There is a number. And so how ready are you in relation to what you have, what you're saving, the amount of years you have between now and the day you retire? So how on track are you there? And cash flow, do you have just enough to cover your lifestyle, or do you have some margin that can help you fuel the other areas? How well are you managing debt in relation to your income and age? Right? How many months could you really survive? How many months could you provide your family with peace of mind if you lost your job or there was a crisis? And finally, do you have documented all of the assets that you've accumulated over your life? And this is pretty much the formula. Now, you don't need to be a mathematician, really, to do this. You can take a picture of this, but what it is that it takes your input, and you provide your factual information on each one of the pillars. And by the way, when you go through this, you will find that it's not a 50, questions. It was so elegantly designed that you should be able to see something with just very little information, but it's right to the point. You'll see it if you give yourself the opportunity to go and do it. But number 2, it scores every pillar. Each pillar is scored from a scale of 1 to 100. And then the impact, right, it is weighted. Like I said earlier, each one of the pillars is weighted according to their level of importance. And then we aggregate everything and finally give you that score that you are familiar with, at least with your credit score, which is 300 to 850. Now, the most important thing is I don't want you to, if you go in there, you do the exercise, and you figure out what your financial score is, and that's all you get from this, what does that really do for you? Nothing really, or not much. It's just a number. Right? What's important is that you know how to actually improve that. And how is it going to impact you? Here's what I mean by that. There's so much information on TikTok and all over the place, on the media. I don't think it's more information necessarily that we need. I think we just need clear guidance on what is priority. If you, maybe, and I don't want to generalize this, but if you attempted to figure out where you are today and what you need to do to be able to get to where you want to go, maybe 20 things will come out of things that you need to do, but what is the priority? So this exercise here, this financial score, will give you that priority for you. Like, where are the areas that you actually can improve so that it doesn't feel like, oh my God, I'm doing everything wrong. And make the planning feel more like, oh, I know what my next step is. That's a totally different way of feeling and going through that journey that you need to go through. We all need to go through that. Because I would say that probably every single one of us need to work in one of those 6 pillars that we're talking about. So this tool will help you find what that priority is so that you can actually execute on it and it doesn't feel so heavy, as you can go from wherever your baseline is to get to the highest score that you can. Now, the process is very simple. You answer some of the questions, and that link that we will provide to you, that'll get you your score, and you will see your plan. You will see the baseline, and then what are the things that you need to take action on immediately, and then just track and improve. Because what you don't track What you don't manage, you can't improve, right? Now, I want to just highlight again and emphasize that this is not a credit score. It is not a number that you're going to go to a bank or you use with a lender. This is for you. You need to know where you're at and what are the steps you need to take so that your entire financial house, so that you understand how solid of a foundation you really have in that financial house. Which pillar may be weak, what you need to work on, right? This is for you. It's for you to have more control. And I just think that if you have the knowledge, if you become self-aware really of where you're at, that gives you clarity. When you have clarity, then you know what action to take. And if you are consistent in the actions that you must take, that's going to give you freedom. And one advantage of getting that financial score is that you will always have access to a financial professional that can help you close those gaps. Like if this exercise helped you determine that you have a certain gap for retirement or for protection, or that there are some documents that you gotta have with your estate plan, you have a professional that can actually work with you to get that done, to give you control. And I guess finally, you came in here today knowing your credit score. You came in here today knowing your 401k balance, your checking account balance, maybe your cholesterol levels, right? I mean, you came in knowing those things. And one of the things that I want to make sure that you leave with is that you know your financial score. Now, I don't have a link for you to copy or anything. The person who invited you here today has that link, has that tool that they can provide to you so that you can go in there and know your financial score so that you can begin to improve it and work on every single one of the areas, because in the end, how solid you build each of those pillars, the financial pillars, will greatly determine the success you will have in your financial life. So Jody, with that, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you, guys. Hope you take advantage of that.
Guys, first of all, we started 10 minutes late, but we're on time. Could be headed to finish a couple of minutes early, but we'll see. Okay? But guys, you understand how amazing what you just saw is? But listen, you got to understand that there's all kinds of tools for that piece. And what this does is it makes it where if you are a rep, you have that thermonuclear weapon to go out in the field with. And you can do as good of a job or a better job than someone who's been in the business 30 years that does not have that technology. And there's all these tools for everything. Imagine that you sit down with somebody. Let's just say that I sat down with Floyd, and he's feeling pretty good about things, and he's got money in a couple of different places, tax now, tax later, tax never, and he doesn't know which one. This technology will show you how you can balance your money. It's just amazing, the tools. And I want to make one point. When we went over IUL tonight, that's because we wanted to demystify that. We're going to be having, this is a series. We're going to be going over all the different products. Next month, we're on, what's the date? September 29th, we'll have the next session of this. It'll be on different subjects. I know some of you may come from the world of term. Buy term and invest the difference. We sell more term insurance than anybody. I think the majority of the business we sell, or 50-50 of what we sell with Corebridge, is term insurance. So don't get yourself in an uproar. But I promise you, buy term and spend the difference, which is what most people do. We can do it all. We're in that position that sets us apart than anyone else that you're going to sit down with. And I love that. So I want you to know we're giving you all the tools for you to put together a plan. And we're finally taking Wall Street to Main Street. We're able to go in and take what's been for all these other companies and bringing it to all of you. And you owe it to yourself to follow up with us so that you can sit down and let's see all this technology, how it can work for you and how it can unleash for you. It is absolutely amazing. It'll give you a financial empowerment like you've never seen. Now to wrap us up, and I promise you this will be a jolt of energy. Okay, it's one of the funnest speakers that there is. and he's our closer. So you might as well give in right now. You know, he's that good. But Raheem is one of our superstars. He's homegrown here. He's come into the business, and we've been able to have a lot of successful people. He's right there. He's become, all of us have become financially independent through this business by using it as clients first. We're like the hair replacement guys. It's not, I don't just own the company. We use it too. You know, I'm a client. We are all clients today. That's how I see financial services works better than the hair replacement, apparently. Okay. I would like to recognize, before we finish up, a lot of people did a wonderful job tonight. But come over and stand by me real quick. But I want to recognize Eric and Jill Bugby, if they would stand up for a second. They did a phenomenal job. They're new with our company, but they had the biggest group here tonight, and I do want to recognize that. So congratulations and a wonderful job for Team Creatives. So we're going to call that team, right? They're in the movie business, in the creative business. So thank you, great job, recognize it, and that's all part of the great Giovanni and Araceli's team also. So there you go. Thank you. So now then, as we wrap up. And I should have had Araceli up here. She looks much better than him. But as we wrap up, this is important. You're going to hear some great information. He's going to put an exclamation point as we finish this up. That's the great Raheem Hussein. Yeah. Raheem.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Let's go. All right. That's good. All right, thank you very much. My name is Raheem Hussein. As you can see, I'm an immigrant. Can you tell? So I can very much relate to the Korean guy. I was on the same track, right? When I was told, hey, study hard, doctor, engineer, pick one, you know. But then go to America was one of everybody's dream, right? Come to America, land of opportunity for what?
Make money.
Who likes money, by the way? Just checking. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.5. Me. Yeah. So, guys, with that being said, you know, land of opportunity. So I was on track. I made it to America. I did my education, and I got lucky. I got recruited by one of the top Fortune 500 company at that time, where I was on track. Can you see me now? Yeah, I'm vertically challenged, okay? But I'm a very grounded person. Right. But guys, I was on track, and my dad was a corporate success, so I thought I'll work hard, I'll do what I can. Well, guess what happened? Back in 90s, there was a major layoff, right? And my company, it's not mine, but 4,000 people got laid off, and I was one of them, right? And worst day, because I was such a dedicated employee, climbing the corporate ladder, being the management, $1 million wall, all that stuff, whatever my dad showed me, I did it, right? And I was good at it, I was great at it. But when that layoff happened, I was disappointed. But I'm so excited that corporate America disappointed when I was young, because as I walked out from the parking lot, right, my manager's name was Steve. He got emotional that day, and you know, as I just said, hey Steve, everything's gonna be okay. You know, I was being the nice guy. He jerked my hand off so hard, and I got scared. I was like, what happened? Like, no, nothing's going to be okay. I'm 63. I gave this company 35 years. Blah, blah. He went on and on and on and on. And I said, oh my God, thank God that's not me at 63 in the parking lot.
Yeah.
You know, and coming to land of opportunity, I said, you know what? I want to own this damn thing. But I didn't understand it. I had no clue. I was on my way to who had 65 plan? Work till 65 plan? I did. Right? But that day, I promised myself, I gotta figure this money things out, because I don't want to be Steve in the parking lot. That day, I was hoping and praying somebody like Jody or Matt or Zach would show up at my door just to mentor me and guide me. Raheem, are you on track for 65? Or you can really understand money and take control of your money. Right? So I was praying, and luckily, when you know what happens, what you're looking for is looking for you. Yes. But I was seriously looking. So that money, today I'm going to share what I learned about it, and this is my experience of what Matt said, what Zach said. I'm just gonna put enhance it how I was helped, right, with my money. Well, when you see the dollar, who is here for the first time? Raise the hands. A few people. Give me your name, sir.
Shimon.
Shimon. Oh, nice name. Shimon. Shimon, if you had not if you had, when you have $1,000, what do you want that 1,000 to do? 1,000 to grow. Okay. Number one. What else you guys want that 1,000 to do?
Have children.
To grow. That's grow. What else? I want my 1,000 to grow. What else you want your 1,000 to do?
Not pay taxes.
You here for the first time? For the first time. All right, you've seen this probably. Yeah. So grow, and what else? Come on, new people. Who's here for? See, that was my knowledge of the money. That was I just want my money to grow, and that's it. My dad always says, save money, save money, save. He never took me to the bank. And what Jody taught us tonight, the rule of 72, I was never taught. My dad probably did not know. But what if what Jody taught tonight, it works and is real, and we need to educate? Who's emotionally attached to their money? Is it a IRS emotionally attached to your money? Is it financial advisors emotionally attached to your money? Or is it the CPA attached to your money? Who is emotionally attached to your money? So who needs to know more about money? I do. Tonight, my whole goal is to whatever I've learned from Jody, from Matt, from Zach, whatever I've learned over the years, I'm just going to share what I thought was extremely powerful. And what Zach did tonight, guys, if you just go home and study that. And he's a good teacher. I saw him. I know him for the last 9 years. But he did amazing. Thank you, Zach. All right. So this is the 7th thing that I learned. Can I share it with you? Yes. All I knew was how to grow. But guess what? So to grow money, I now understood. I not only want my money to grow, I want it to be safe. So when 1,000 becomes 2,000, you want to ever go back to 1,000? No. So you want money to be? Growing. Safe. Growing and safe. Right? We're learning. Guys, I like interaction. Otherwise, I'll go back to the beginning. Hello, my name is Rahim. So I want my money to grow. I want my money to be safe. And what about the taxes? Right? Zach did an amazing job. He explained so well that, IRS says 2 things. Give me tax on $20 or give me tax on $200,000. What would you prefer? Take my 20 if you have to, right? And leave me alone at 200. Zach taught us that tonight. I hope you got the message. So do we want our money to grow, save, and be tax-free? Yes. Awesome. Number 3, when I wanted the BMW, what Zach said, Zach, I actually bought my BMW from that plan. Because a couple of years ago, I don't know if you know, that the interest rate was really high, 7.98%. Guess how much I paid?
3%. Zero.
Oh, sorry. Yeah? That's right. I paid 0 because what Zach said, be your own bank. I wanted to be my own bank, but nobody ever taught me. All right, next thing. So is liquid important to you? Ladies, the Amazon cart piles up. Right? No? Yes?
We're just afraid to say yes with you, but it's yes.
Okay, so liquid help. How about income stream? Every 30 days money to show up at my door. How does that feel? Even that sound of that feels good. Right? Every 30 days money should show up. That's income. I never thought nobody taught me income stream. How about that? Let me put it that way. And whatever I learned in school that finance, I knew if I took away his 2 paychecks who got me finance in school, what would happen to that teacher? I love teachers. I don't want Zach to meet me in a parking lot and say, I love you too much, right? What about legacy transfer? What if I don't use my money? What if I die tomorrow? What if there is no Monday morning? What do you want to happen to the money? The legacy needs to be transferred. But how much of legacy I want IRS to have, I want creditors to have? No, it's my hard-earned money. I need to understand my money first before I do anything. Fair game? All right. Last thing is disability. I come from medical background, by the way. I'm not a finance guy. Can you tell? You know, but thanks to Matt, thanks to Zach, thanks to Jody, all these people I hang around with, you know, who talked about that 1% today? The Korean guy. What's his name? Shane. Sorry, I keep calling him Korean. But Shane talked about that 1%. Today, is it okay to know what 1% knows? Is it okay, or is it the law that, hey, only they should know? There's not. 65 is not a law. Retiring at 65, is that a law? No. Right? If you understand this 17th, and I demand my dollar to do that today. So I need to understand that. All right, so let's go. If I have, what is your money doing? Depend where you put it. If I want all these 7 things, by the way, guys, do you agree your money needs these 7 things or just grow? But tonight, promise that I want my money to do 7 things. So where should I park it? If I park it at the bank, you know, I get the safety growth, but there are some reds in there too. It's taxable living benefits, all those are not there. I'm not against the banks. It has its own way to do things, but if it's not serving me, I need to understand it. Fair enough?
Yeah.
All right, number 2, 529 plans, good education plans. I'm not against it. All I'm saying is it falls into my 7 green ones. You guys want the 7, right? Just like I did? But it doesn't. So, again, if I want to have it, I can have it. But what about the bonds? The multi-body bonds. What about all the other investments? America is so heavy on this, right? Because it's sold to us. It was sold to me, Rahim. You have a privilege working for my company. It's an employee benefits. You can have 401k. You just have to be active for 90 days, the probation. Like I was in jail or something. But, guys.
That's really funny.
Hey, 65, man. The judge said if you work for corporate, you're in for 65. So I got bailed out. I was supposed to be bailed out at 65, but thanks to Jody, who bailed me out earlier. You know, is it okay to retire early, sir? The retirement has to do with age or money.
Money.
Are you new? Age or money? Money. It took me years to understand that, Rahim. Retirement means money, not 65. Thank God Jody said that to me. But if he wouldn't have, I was on track for 65. But anyway, coming back to, we spend a lot of money. Then somebody told me, Rahim, there is a tax-free bucket. I want to know that, Do I want to pay tax on 20 or 200K? Well, 20. So show me the vehicle. Well, they showed me Roth. But they had some reds in it. What good is my tax-free when let's say, for the people who retire or on Friday, on a 2008 Friday, they had a good retirement party on Friday. What happened Monday morning? So they saved a lot of tax, but where is the money? Right? And there are some YouTube videos on it, right? So FIAs, real estate, guys, I'm not against all of this, but if I have an appetite of some of the red ones, I'll take that appetite, but I need to control my appetite. The appetite at 25, 35, 45 is different. Would you guys agree? Yeah. Right? And if I ask anybody, if I ask her at 20, 25, 30 years old, how much can you afford to lose? He might say, I can afford to lose more. I'll be in the high risk market. But same question to a 55-year-old, a 50 plus year old, what do you think they're going to say? No. They're going to say none. Why should I lose my money? Right? So that came, if I want these 7 things, then guess what I'm looking for? Can anybody guess? What else?
HGR.
Hey, non-guaranteed cash index on insurance life.
Both of you get a virtual candy, okay? You both are right. Alright? So it is the 772, what Zach was talking about, the 72, the 101, the IRS told me, Rahim, if you really understand the top 1%, you can do it. So instead of listening to the friends, family, all that stuff, all those family finance, how many financial planners have in the families? Everybody's a financial planner. Oh, let me tell you what stock I bought. Tell me about the one you lost. Right? But anyway, when I learned about, see, this is all green. Are we excited now? I was hoping and praying when I learned this, it was real because I was skeptical. Because nobody talked about it, so it may not be real. And I lived in America for 40 years. How come nobody talked about 7702? They talked about 401. They talked about ROTH. They talked about the 529s. All the codes are out there. But that 7702 is what I wanted to learn. The beyond bank and you know, all that stuff. So when I learned about this and I got excited, this is exactly what Zach was talking about. This portion right here, what I circled, guys, changed my life too. And thanks to Jody who said, you know what, if you understand this, if I helped you, Rahim, ever, go help America. That's what we do. If I have a good information that is good for you, I come from a medical background. If I have a good medicine, why should I not give it away? Right? So thanks to Jody, he said, you know what, if this is good for your family, it's good for the American family. So he taught me the distribution part of it. Thank you, Jody, for changing their life. You know, thank you so much for what you and your dad do. Amazing sermon leaders, right? So things about the money that you wish you knew sooner, right? Zach and Kimberly get to know 25 years ago. I'm so jealous, right? All right, with that being said, what matters to me, what matters to us, is there are two phases in life. 25 to 65, the accumulation phase, right? But why do we work so hard and invest money? Because it's all about what? A lifetime income. The phase 2 of the life, where money comes to me. How many people love that money comes to you every 30 days? Just I want you to visualize that. Every 30 days, money comes. Clap for it! Yes! But I need to understand the recipe first, the ingredients first. Slow down. Understand it. Then go work smart and work hard if you want to. All right. So it's all about the lifetime income. Where do I get it? I'll tell you one thing. When I saw this, it really hit me hard. Rahim, if you retire, and so here is an example, right? The secret of return. If you have $1 million in retirement, for example, at 65, and 25% tax bracket, and 100K lifestyle, if the market goes up after you retire, you probably have a nice 17 years, what Jack said. But if market takes one correction, just one correction, do you think in about 65 to 85 market may take a correction based on the record of 100 years? Yep. By the way, guys, this is yes, this is no. And this is I don't know. So is it fair to say the market might take one correction in 20 years? Fair enough? What does it do to me? What it does, it takes my 17 years and put it down to 7 years. How many people want that sort of surprise in their portfolio? You know? So if I don't understand my money, I have no right to help you.
Yep.
You want to know, by the way, anybody, can you please Google how much life insurance Bank of America has? Can somebody please Google and give me that answer, please?
119 trillion, I believe it is.
Okay?
Jeez.
About 20 trillion.
Jeez.
Right? What do you think that's a good, does bank know a little bit about money, would you say?
Yes.
The bank knows about money?
Yes.
This is yes, this is no. This is no. Right? If bank knows about money, what are billions of dollars doing in life insurance for them? If they know about money and life insurance has a big portion of it, guess what I need to do? It works for them, it works for me. So with that being said, you figure out, guys, do you want to stay retired or go back to work? And I've talked many people in Sam's Club and Costco who checks my receipts, the seniors, go talk to them. Their stories are very painful. All right, so this is what I learned, that you know what, and I was so diversified. You know, I was so diversified. Judy, can I take 5 more minutes?
Sure.
Yeah? No, when he comes closer, I get scared too.
He runs out.
So what this taught me that, you know, when I was diversified, little real estate, little stock, little 401k, little IRA, little bit of everything, would you say is diversified portfolio? So I should be okay? I should be okay, right? Because I had a little bit of everything, just exactly what I learned. But guess what happened? If I were to retire here, here, or here, the last 3 episodes that America had, what would happen to all my diversifications? I was diversified, but the umbrella was the economy. I was well diversified and I was proud of it. Because I was told that, hey, don't put your eggs in one basket. Yeah, have you heard that? Right? So I just hold on to my chicken really tight. All right, so that was the corona, that was 2008 and that was 2000. But what I learned based on my appetite of losing money, guess what I did? I learned about the interest contracts. Now every time America takes a correction, I refuse to participate. How many people in the room refuse to participate if America takes a correction? Yeah. 3 people, 4, 5, 6, 7. Man, we got some rich force here who can lose money, right? I love money. I'm going to stick to my money. I don't like losing money, right? So I switch from red to green, and then what do I do today? I teach America, hey, how much money can you afford to lose? And based on that, I move red to green, right? And then 7702 has that, what Matt talked about, we do that. All right, so 3 things, the tax-free stuff, the Roth, the municipality bond, and guess what this is? Permanent life insurance. But the way it's designed, you know, Zach covered that, it is so important to sit with the financial planner who is less insurance agent and more has interest in your favor. It is so important to design these kind of plans. The negative that you hear online is true if it's not designed the right way. So let me show you. Can I share how it's designed the right way so you are more smart leaving this room? Yes. What I learned? Let me share this with you, right? Traditional way and properly structured way. This is the traditional way, where it has more of what? The admin cost, insurance cost, and the commission. Especially this part. I gotta understand, if somebody is more commission driven, I don't want him in my house. Okay? You gotta do the right thing for the family. It's important, right? So then it has all the favors that favors America, but look at this. If you design the right way, more towards me than the insurance. Matt, close your ears. But Matt, would you design it this way if you come to my home? Because Matt knows to do the right thing. Guys, there are 2 ways of which bucket would you like, ma'am? The red or the blue?
The blue.
The blue? How many people want red?
They're not here.
Aren't you glad they're not here? Because they're holding a very heavy bucket outside. So if you do it the right way, you can take advantage of 101, IRS 72 and 7702 all under one umbrella. Wow, what a blessing. And every state planning, every giant billionaire has a portfolio heavy in insurance. So insurance is the household item, but people who understand it the right way. Insurance to a common man, for years it was a bill to me. I don't want an extra bill and add it to my other bills, but once I understood it, I want that to be in part of my portfolio. All right? Now with that being said, and I'll take 3 more minutes, here was my paycheck, right? Right? You see how broke I was. So this is how it works, right? Before my check hits the account, guess what happened? Federal tax took away, state tax took away, right? And then when I went to buy milk,
But it's true though. This is
when I went to buy milk, I was taxed again on a tax that I already paid, right? So I remember my very first paycheck in America, guys. You know, my very first paycheck in America, when it came in my hand, and you know, I was hourly rates back then. So I calculated, oh, I work X hours, my check should be there. But when it came, it was missing a lot of money. So I was like, so I went to my manager. I was trying to understand money in America, right? So it's like, okay, so who is this Spiker? Why is he taking so much of my money? You know? So I said, so my manager said, Raheem, you have an uncle called Sam. I said, but I'm Muslim. So he said, doesn't matter what religion you are. He is part of your family member. And he takes money. I said, how do I get rid of this uncle?
That's
right?
the question, yeah.
So, hey, I found out, okay? I'm
Yeah,
about
praise the
to-
Lord.
Right? So you know, so that's what, then property tax, and after that, so 50% of my check just went away.
Oh, man.
Right? And then health came in because they told me it's mandatory. You know, I don't get sick, but hey, they told me anyway. So So I had to pay mortgage after this, and then came all my food, vacations, and all that stuff. My paycheck was gone, guys. My paycheck was gone. So out of 6 months and 12 months, I was working for Uncle Sam.
Wow.
Out of 12 months, 6 months was gone. Monday mornings, I don't want to wake up for nobody. But Uncle Sam said, go to work for me. But anyway, then 7702 came into my life, and I really had to understand the top 1%. Right? So I said, you know what? If you make 100,000, this is the tax now bucket, this is the tax deferred bucket. If I want to defer it, and this has a major role if I do it the right way, okay? Guys, I'm not here putting down nothing. If you understand it, how much to defer, how much not to pay, is in your control. And then the last bucket, the 7702 falls in what? So America uses this bucket to offset this bucket. You know, if you don't want to, I'll give you an example. So I just want to balance it out. So if you have 100K, you know, if you want to defer some of it, you use the second bucket and lower it. So if you had 100K, you put 20K in a 401K, and now you pay tax on 80K, and you legally did not pay tax on 20K. Is that exciting?
Yeah.
You know, I told IRS I'm not going to pay. Charge me later. Yeah, that's basically what's happening is, hey, charge me later, but guess what? Would you ever take a loan which interest rate is not disclosed? You wouldn't? Guess what we are all doing? I'll tell Uncle Sam, whatever you decide to charge me at my exit, at my phase 2, you tell me. I wouldn't take any loans if you do not disclose the interest rate, right?
Right.
But America is doing that with tax deferred.
That's a good point, man.
I always make good points. All right. So with that being said, now look at what Zach was mentioning. You know, that 20K that I've been putting away till 65 grows to $1 million, and if I was to retire the same money, that means I'm broke. But the 25% till 65 to 85, if you take 25K times 20, $500,000. Guys, I'm not a mad genius. If I'm only saving 5K in taxes to give away $500,000 in taxes, I don't want to use the word, but you know the word. Okay? So get smart with your money, guys. This is your money. Nobody's emotionally attached. Get money smart. Work smart. We can work hard. I'm not against working hard, but work smart. Let your money have a job. Let your money have tax-free. The taxes that we legally don't pay, that $500,000 if you don't pay, give that $500,000 opportunity to compound. And if you pass away too soon, transfer it by 101. Let the family enjoy it tax-free. Why not? You're not doing anything wrong. We just need to be educated, you know? And that's what tax now, tax deferred. So we're all missing what? We're using this bucket to offset this bucket, but we are not filling this bucket to offset this bucket. So let's take advantage of all three buckets. If there is more, I'll take it, all right? And guys, don't miss out on this. And this is the right source, okay? So all my family, friends who used to give me financial advice, today I look at Limra. Is Rahim missing out? What is America doing? Just a quarter. This is basically Limra. You guys can look it up. Look at all the insurance. Crazy, right? If you look at it, index, it grows $1.1 billion. It grew 9%. Look, 9%. Well, the economy is going down. People are dumping money where? 9% it went up, and this one went up 12%, 3%. Come on, really? I don't want to miss out on this. You don't want to miss out on this. So take a day off, understand, spend some time with education of money, get money smart. So whoever invited you, say, hey, why is this little guy so excited on the stage? You know? Because I finally found something that I came to America for. I want my money to have a job. All right, clap for me.
Isn't he awesome?
Hey, you taught me everything.
That's okay. And when he started out, he was taller than me. It's been tough. That's what my dad always tells people, right?
The money weighed him down.
That pocket's weighing him down. Everybody listen, and thank you for being here tonight. Those of you that did not get a chance to see a tour of this little hallway over here in any other part of the building, we'll do that right after. Please do that, especially those of you that drove a long ways. If you're here for the first time, if you would raise your hand, please. They're gonna hand out, let's go guys. Everybody's gonna make sure that you've been given two things. One's a pamphlet to take home. The other was a little questionnaire. If you fill out for it, it helps us know, what kind of job that we did. So please do that. Plus you can't get out without it. So, and thank you very much for being our guest tonight. This is our business home. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you, all of you.